Welcome all to the Pro Football Radio Podcast. This is your co-host, Jay Chima, with the pride and joy of Merrimack, New Hampshire, the Puma. What's up, brother, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. It's great to have football back in our lives. The 1 p.m. slate was a bit choppy and sloppy. The 4 o'clock slate was saved by the Dolphins-Chargers game, and I know you and I had a fun time with that Cowboys-Giants game at your brother's expense, but yes, a lot of good games, a lot of decent matchups coming up on this slate, and Jay, it's week 1, and we already got storylines. Like, what a time to be alive.
The NFL is king, bro. The NFL is so king. You know this. I know this. Mm-hmm. Week 1 came and went. We enjoyed all the games. We hung out for 11 hours on Sunday. We watched a lot of football. It was good times. Shout out to Tara for making some amazing, snacks for us. That was wonderful. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I'm super excited about this podcast. And, all of us can talk about how we were excited to sit down and watch the New York Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, right? And we all sat down before anything even really happened. Aaron Rodgers takes an errant snap. Well, actually, he takes a snap, he drops back, and a defender comes down on him, and he's trying to pivot and get out of that tackle, and all of a sudden, he pops his Achilles, right? Initially, you saw him get right back up, but then he had this look of like despair on his face. He sat back down, went to the sideline, went to the blue medical tent, and at that moment, when he's walking off and he can't put any pressure on his leg, that's when I knew it was serious. That's when I was like, all right, this is not good right now. And eventually, when they got the card out for him with the blue medical tent, that's when I knew the Achilles was gone. A lot of times me and you had this conversation that you thought it was going to be the ankle, but just the way that he pushed off of it, I just had a nagging feeling it was going to be his Achilles, especially with the fact that in the offseason, his calf went out. In training camp, there's a big storyline about how, he strained his calf. And we now know that, whether it's Kevin Durant, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, those calf strains can lead to Achilles injuries. So, Puma, what was initially your thoughts when you saw that happen? How did you feel? I know me personally, I was just sad. I was sad for the Jets fans. I was sad for Aaron Rodgers. I'm a Patriots fan myself, so obviously we hate the Jets, but I never wanted to go out like that. I wanted to beat Aaron Rodgers, man up, 100% healthy. It's not what I wanted for those guys, and I'm sad for everybody involved.
Yeah, no, same here. Dolphins fan here, like you said, I wanted to face the Jets 2 times this year, at peak capacity with Aaron Rodgers under the helm. But, when we saw like that whole series play out, all 4 plays, out of the 4 snaps, like 3 of them, he was under pressure the whole time. The only one he wasn't under pressure was the run play by Breece Hall. And this was the thing too, Jay, is like, we've talked about this almost all offseason of how brutal this offensive line was. And we specifically said it in the game preview last week that even though, there's no Von Miller, like that offensive line is still a massive liability for the New York Jets. Did I kind of call there being a missed block in the offseason being like the root of the all evil? Yes. Did I have it on my bingo card that was going to be 4 plays into the season? Absolutely not. And it was kind of interesting because, you heard reports come out later on today about how A-Rod wasn't a fan of like the chop block scheme that the Jets were trying to run because he likes to, have, kind of drawn out plays so he can improvise in the back. But with the chop block stuff, it kind of requires like quick slants and quick thinking type of plays type of deal. So I heard that on the fan today and I couldn't really believe it. But like, just like you, Jay, like it sucks. I feel bad for Jets fans because that was probably the most raucous I've seen MetLife Stadium be.
I know,
quite frankly, ever at least in my lifetime. So it sucks. They ended up winning. But shocking. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But like, I don't have high hopes, and it leaves a lot of questions of, well, Zach Wilson is the guy by default. Saleh looked like he had the 1,000-yard stare when they panned on him. But now, like, the question is, well, who's going to be the backup? Because there's no more Mike White. Like, are you going to call up Joe Flacco? Are you going to pull Matt Ryan out of the booth? Like, do you see if Philip Rivers has to, really fund like the 12 kids that he has in his house now. Like there's so many questions, but ultimately, Jay, this offensive line is, regardless of who you drop back there at quarterback, this offensive line is absolutely brutal. So Lyle Collins just got released, so maybe they pick up the phone and see if they want him to come to the Jets.
Well, I mean, we saw, I know it was only 4 plays that it was before he got hurt, but those 3 plays that he had, all 3 of them, he had pressure. Like he went back there and I'm like, oh crap, they're coming after him. And yes, I get the Cowboys, defensive line. I'm sorry, the Bills defensive line is pretty good, but I just didn't expect them to look that bad. And we saw it. We saw how this looked in the preseason as well. So, moving forward, I think it sucks even more for Jets fans today because they won that game last night. Like if Aaron Rodgers went out and the Jets just fell apart, then all right, pack the season in. It is what it is. But the fact that you still were able to beat the Buffalo Bills, who, even though they had a bad performance, we still believe is a top 2 or 3, or 2 or 3 team in the AFC alone. So, that's the shitty part for Jets fans today is they gotta swallow that pill that, hey, we could have been something this year if Aaron Rodgers didn't get hurt. Now, moving it forward, Zach Wilson, he's gonna have to take on a vaunted, Cowboys defensive line in Sunday's matchup, the same defensive line that terrorized Daniel Jones and the New York Giants in that same stadium just 24 hours prior to that Monday Night Football game. Do you see Zach Wilson with a week of preparation, with a game plan specifically tailored towards him? Because let's be real, Monday Night Football thrown in that spot, it's not the best chance of success for him. Like I get it, there's a lot of issues with Zach Wilson and who he is as a quarterback, but that was an impossible, monumental task to go into Monday Night Football and try to execute a game plan that wasn't tailored for you and your skill set. You feel me? So this week's worth of practice. Do you by any chance foresee maybe Zach Wilson can turn that corner, or do you think it is what it is? The Jets are gonna have to muddy up these games and win with the running attack.
Yeah, they're gonna have to win with the running attack because quite frankly, call it an overreaction. Like especially against Dallas this week, like I have zero faith in Zach Wilson finding any semblance of a passing attack through the air because the offensive line is not going to give him enough time. We saw what this Dallas offensive line did with Andrew Thomas and a first round draft pick and Neal. So what are they going to do with Dwayne Brown that's just coming off of a shoulder injury, and then Mekhi Becton that's like perennially hurt, and then Elijah Vera Tucker, which is the ultimate wild card of like, well, how well has that knee healed up? I mean, unless like Nathaniel Hackett is going to do like max protect every play and have 2 tight ends in there just to keep him from getting absolutely mauled and ragdolled by, Micah Parsons, they're going to have to lean on the run game. So like, the over under, I live in the gambling world, hashtag PUMABETS, but like, at 8:20 last night, the spread on this Dallas game on the look ahead was Dallas laying 3.5. And the over-under was probably in the 45 and a half range, depending on what book you were looking at. If you were to look right now, that is absolutely cratered. The total is 39 and a half to 40. And the spread is now, at some books, it's Dallas laying 10 points. So, I mean, if you're going to bet this game, like if you want to take the points with the Jets, like I don't blame you because I do think this defense for the Jets is going to give, Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy a hard time. And quite frankly, we didn't see anything from this Dallas offense in that blowout and in that monsoon against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. So we don't really know what semblance of an offense we're going to see. It's clearly we know it's going to be the Tony Pollard show, but they try to have a connection with their tight end Ferguson, and he had stone hands, and I understand it was raining, so like drops were going to happen. But I mean, that was kind of a cupcake defense in the Giants compared to what they're facing with the Jets now. So, I mean, I'm taking the under in that game. It's one of my best bets. We'll get to that like later on in the show. I have Dallas winning this game, but I honestly think it's going to be close. Like I think it might be within 10 points just because I have no idea what we are going to see from this Dallas offense.
Is it crazy that I think the Jets are going to win this week? Am I absolutely losing my mind? Just because,
honestly, I don't think so. I don't think you are. And it gets to like the point too, like there was a lot of sloppy football this week because like, week 1 is the extension of preseason. So you might see that week 2. Like anything can happen. I don't think it's too far of a bridge to cross for the Jets to win. So like expand on that thought. I didn't mean to jump on you.
Well, no, that's totally fine. I think the Jets defensive line is one of the deepest in the NFL. They have 10 guys that can come at you in waves, right? So is the Cowboys defensive line. They've got waves upon waves of people that can come at you. So when you have those strong defensive lines, it's going to be a rock fight. It's going to be hey, we're going to have to run the ball, play good defense. 1 or 2 big turnovers is going to cost us the game. So let's just keep it on the ground. And in that fight, I kind of like the Jets backbone better than the Cowboys backbone. Like if it's a shootout, if it's a CeeDee Lamb is running downfield, Dak's airing it out, you're getting, people wide open down the field and it's like 45-42, then yeah, obviously Zach Wilson doesn't have the firepower to keep up with that. But if I think how it's going to play out and it's going to become a rock fight, a defensive stalemate, give me the Jets. Breece Hall was running so good for a guy coming off of ACL injury, 120 yards or whatever the number was. He looked like he was cutting. He was seeing the holes. He felt really good. And I think Dalvin Cook, you'll see him become stronger as the week goes on, as the weeks go on. Dude, I'm feeling good about the Jets in this situation. I know it's going to be crazy. The storyline is going to be insane that, they're 2-0 now. They got the Patriots coming in, right? And maybe they might be able to pull off a win there. I'm not lying to you. I got a feeling that this team, like somehow this Aaron Rodgers thing is going to bring them closer together. And when you have a team that's like has their back against the wall and you have so much talent on the roster, good things can happen, man. Good things can happen.
Hey, any given Sunday. I mean, for sure.
True.
It's not a bridge too. Honestly, Jay, like it comes down to like Mike McCarthy. I honestly think this game is probably going to be like 20-7 or like 17-7. I think it's going to be a tight, contested game. But I mean, dude, I have no faith in Mike McCarthy. So that's why, like, I'm not touching a side. I am not laying 9.5 to 10 points with Dallas. Like, honestly, Jay, if it gets to 10.5, which it might, I might be inclined to take the Jets just out of value and the number. But I really want nothing to do with the side, so I'll take the under 40. But if they win, Jay, then you're Jay Stradamus at this point. So
is it PUMABETS or is it JBets from here on out?
It might be renamed JBets, or PUMABETS brought to you by Chimadamas or something, So
yeah. Well, let's talk about the other side of this, and we've got to hit on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know what's happening. I really don't. I mean, I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I think both of us want him to win, want him to succeed. But what we've seen out of Josh Allen the last year or so, it's kind of alarming. Now, my sister brought up a good point in the group chat. When's the last time Josh Allen had a good game? Can you remember? Like, can you honestly remember and pinpoint a game where, that Josh Allen was an absolute beast? And for me, it wasn't like a year and a half ago. It was that, Kansas City Chiefs 13-second game playoffs in Arrowhead. That's the last time I truly remember Josh Allen have a spectacular game. The turnovers are just insane. Like, I just don't understand what he's looking at. I don't know what his mental processing is at the moment. He's not just like throwing bad interceptions, but he's taking careless, shots with his body as well. Like, there was this one play that like made me so damn mad. He tried to like hurdle somebody and try to get to the first down marker, but he was 8 yards from the first down marker.
Yes.
Like hurdle, like what are you, Superman? Like, what is this? So like,
okay, this isn't a free plug. Like this moment drink that has like the adaptogens and shit in there. Yeah. I was like almost shotgunning these last night because Josh Allen, and I am like the biggest Josh Allen homer. You don't believe me? Go back in the feed. Like, check out every Bills breakdown.
He's got a Josh Allen jersey.
I got the Allen jersey. Like, I planted my flag with this dude, and it was moronic. It was absolutely stupid. What this guy was trying to do, like trying to do the Elway run. He almost gets helicoptered 5 yards short of the first down. The first interception, he didn't even need to throw that ball. All he had to do was he could have walked to get the first down. And then the second one was brutal. The third one was I can't even.
I don't get it. I don't understand. I simply don't know what's going on with him. I don't, man. And call me crazy, but I got the sense from him that he didn't want to be on the field last night. Like, his body language was just so damn bad. And I don't know what's happening in his personal life. I don't know if it has something to do with the breakup or whatever. I'm not even getting into that part of it, but he is simply not playing good football. And I think the team is seeing that. There was a comment made by the center after the game, Mitch Morse, about how they've got to be able to protect them better. The center did the whole like spiel of being politically correct, but then he threw in a word where, hey, we got to make sure Josh doesn't feel like he's gonna be a superhero back there. Like that in itself, it tells me that team looks at Josh and be like, "What are you doing, bro? Like, why are you out there trying to win this by yourself?" Like,
Right, but that's been the motto. That's been the credence for the last 3 years.
no, it hasn't
really,
been this bad though. It hasn't
to
been this
answer
bad
your
though,
question
man.
though about the last good game he had, it was week 1 last year against the Rams.
Against Rams, yep.
That was it. But I mean,
time.
last year, like that was the thing we kept hearing was like he needs to stop taking the stupid hits. Like he needs to be smarter with the football. Year before that, like same deal. It is god awful. And now, like the excuses are out the window. Like last year, he had the free pass essentially because he might have needed Tommy John surgery, or whatever surgery Brock Purdy had that the 49ers don't want to call Tommy John, but it is what it is. I mean, he almost needed that with his inner ligament on his elbow. But now it's like, I put this out last night. This is almost like a terminally ill like patient, like a family member that's just going through like the slow, agonizing like end. Like this is kind of how it feels with the Bills. Ever since Kansas City, 13 seconds in Kansas City, like this team has not been able to get like through that mental hump of just trying to push through it. Like it's almost like 28-3 with the Falcons. Like I don't know if this team needs like a sports psychologist of some sort to come in there to try to figure out Josh Allen's like issues, but it's year 2 under a Ken Dorsey system. Like the Bills, like they use Leslie Frazier as a scapegoat. Like, and Josh Allen is still like making bonehead plays. All they had to do was salt that game away. He could have just ran the rest of the night and just slide, or just hand it off to Damian Harris or James Cook. But no, like he kept like trying to do the most asinine things with the football. And, you see him make the interceptions, but then you see like the pitch play to Latavius Murray. And that's like, oh, well, he has talent, so like he can do that. So we'll just use that to talk ourselves into it. But like, dude, at some point, like, this is god awful. Like this was 2018 Josh Allen or like the rookie year. It was brutal.
I didn't take into factor that maybe Brian Daboll leaving was going to affect him negatively, because last year with Ken Dorsey, they had the ups and downs, but for the most part, they weren't as bad as they are now. Like I think they were still a good enough offense where we thought, they'd be able to produce, and they did produce. But I think now I'm starting to realize, it wasn't so much that Brian Daboll and Ken Dorsey have different, play calling or different plays or whatever. I think it was Brian Daboll being able to rein Josh Allen in. I think there was something to be said about how Brian Daboll coached Josh Allen, that it made sure he saved him from himself. And I don't think Ken Dorsey is doing that right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, right now, like this week, we're not doing a full-on game preview of it, but like they're going to be at home with the Raiders coming to town. And even after last night's fiasco, they're an 8.5-point favorite at home against the Raiders.
Take the Raiders.
Do I think they're going to win? Yeah. Do I know that they're going to win? Absolutely not. And from a betting perspective, after last night's fiasco, am I laying 8.5 with Josh Allen? Like, I know the Raiders defense is brutal, and they really just kept everything short when they were facing the Broncos and Russell Wilson last week. But like, do I think Josh Allen could air it out for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 on the ground? Sure. Do I know he's not going to be like the reincarnation or a poor man's version of Nathan Peterman? Like, absolutely not.
Yeah, pretty bad, man. Pretty bad stuff. And
so
I'll be real with you.
If you had to rank like coming out of last night, right? Like Aaron Rodgers clearly would have been probably in the top 6 of AFC quarterbacks. Like, if you had to rank him, like, where are you putting Josh Allen? Like, how many names do you say before Josh?
His stock is falling for me. Like, I mean, I don't want to like overreact to 1 week, but I really do need to see him like have some games, some weeks that he puts together the next 4 or 5 weeks where it's like, yo, you're like one of the better AFC quarterbacks. But I'm not gonna lie to you, like Trevor Lawrence is coming. Like, I mean, that kid knows how to play football in the biggest moments. His intangibles are off the charts. He can throw the football a country mile. Like, he has it all. And for the most part, if I had to poll anybody before the football season started, everybody would be like, all right, AFC would be somewhere along the lines of Patrick Mahomes and then Burrow and Josh Allen right there, right? At the moment, like it's gonna be Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, and then like I might slide Trevor Lawrence in number 3 at the moment, bro. Like that's how badly I think of what Josh Allen is doing. So, he's fallen. He's definitely fallen in my opinion, bro.
Now
What
call
would
it
you?
like a homer here, but like who would you have
Well,
higher, like Tua or Josh?
I mean, it's still a little too early for all that. I mean, I think Tua is coming. He's spectacular. I mean, his odds went through the roof today for the MVP, and I get all that. But I think it's still too early for me to like be like, hey, listen, like he's in the same league as Josh Allen, right? Maybe a couple more weeks, right? Let's say the middle of the season and Tua is just keeping on this MVP pace and Josh is all over the spot. Then yeah, sure, I'd be more than happy to give him that. And I actually conceded to the fact to you this past weekend that we've got to start saying that Tua is better than just Justin Herbert, right? We've all thought that Justin Herbert was a better quarterback. He has the athletic ability, blah 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 blah. He's better than Tua. I mean, no, man. They played twice head to head, right? And both times into a win, right? And I think both times, like he just looks so much more in command of his offense than Justin Herbert does. And whatever he lacks in physical skill sets, he makes up for with the above the heads, shoulders and tangibles game that Tua plays the game with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have Josh Allen ahead still, but
Yeah,
it's not close. I mean, it's close. It's
yeah.
not like there's a country mile between Tua and Josh Allen right now in the AFC, in my opinion. But it just sucks. Like I'm coming around. Like I can't ignore the facts anymore, Jay. Like he's brutal,
He's
and
brutal.
if this team's going to do anything, like I don't know if they need to come to Jesus talk, but something needs to happen in that
Well,
locker
I mean,
room.
what's going to happen? What is he going to stop? I truly believe part of his stellar play is that he has to take chances. He has to
Mm-hmm.
take chances and play aggressive. The problem is that will come back to bite you eventually. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
I
he
mean
got
he's
away with it
he's
for a little
like
bit.
he's 2023's version of Brett Favre,
Yeah.
but I mean, my God, especially nowadays, like I don't know how like you could just keep doing this. And Josh Allen keeps saying after the game, every press conference, he's like, "Oh, I need to stop making the stupid
That
shit
pissed me off.
decision."
That
Well,
pissed
then
me off.
stop. If
That pissed
you
me off.
know what the problem is, just stop. My God, I said it
Yeah.
last night. If Stephon Diggs punched him in the head on the way back to his seat on
Wouldn't
the
mind him.
airplane,
Wouldn't
he
mind.
had it coming. Like
Yeah.
absolutely. And when Stephon Diggs is like the one like putting the air in the sails to have you psyched up for this drive to get you to overtime, like
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah. What made me so mad about those comments last night from Josh was he's pretending like he didn't have a choice in this. Like he's pretending
Yes.
like it's like, oh, dude, you're the one throwing the football. Like it's on you. You understand that, right?
So dumb. So
I don't get
dumb.
it. I don't get
The
it. All right.
moment the moment he pulled his best Mark Sanchez, and I swear to God, we're gonna move on to this
Yes,
from
yes,
this. The
yes.
moment he pulled the Mark Sanchez, I knew it was a wrap. Like
Hmm.
it was
Hmm.
it was on borrowed time. It
Yep.
was just one of those deals of are we gonna get 5 to the head chest and bleed to death or 1 to the head? And we went to overtime. So we got 5 to the chest and bled to death last
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we've
night.
got the Kansas City Chiefs taking their asses down to Jacksonville in Florida to take on the Jaguars. Good game, good early test for the Jaguars with the defending Super Bowl champs coming in. The Chiefs lost on opening night to the Lions. The Jaguars beat the Colts on opening Sunday. And Puma, who do you got win this game, man?
I'm gonna go with Kansas City only because
Ooh,
like I know they're going on the road. They're going down to Duval, and it's Florida. It's the face of the sun. It's like 200% humidity. But the fact of the matter is Kansas City is having Chris Jones back on that defensive line. That's going to be a huge boost for that defense. Steve Spagnuolo is just going to, in my opinion, unlock this defense now and have Chris Jones get after it. And that was kind of one of the concerns too for Jacksonville was like the offensive line. And like they held up good last week against the Colts. I mean, he only got sacked 2 times. But I just have questions about the Jacksonville defense too. And I know Kansas City, the thing is all the wide receivers had stone hands. I don't think that's going to be a trend that's this year. Andy Reid came out and essentially defended, Kadarius Toney. And I mean, honestly, what else is a head coach supposed to do? But I think Mahomes is still going to be, trying to get him the ball to get him out of this rut. And it might be a heavy, Jerick McKinnon day. I mean, if you look back at stats last year, the Jaguars were one of the worst defenses at giving up receptions to the running back out of the backfield. So, if he doesn't have faith in his wide receivers, it might just be feed the ball to Jerick McKinnon and just move the sticks and go from there. Travis Kelce coming back, like that's the ultimate wild card because there's reports that they're draining a lot of blood out of that hyperextended knee. And
Really?
some doctors are saying that based on the amount that Jay Glazer was reporting either on Sunday or the other day of how much was coming out of that knee for the drainage, like there's probably a good chance he might not be suiting up for week 2. And that might reflect in the line because the line right now is Kansas City -3. And I think the over-under was like 50. Let me just check the notes real quick. The over-under is 51 or 51.5.
Yeah.
But the line right now is Kansas City -3. If Travis Kelce's able to go, like that line is probably going to be moving closer to 7, in my opinion. So if you like Kansas City, I would get them now. But I have Kansas City winning this game. I mean, Calvin Ridley looked like a beast, but I have more faith in Kansas City at this point.
You heard it here first, Puma. With or without Travis Kelce, the Jacksonville Jaguars are winning this game, bro. The Jacksonville Jaguars are winning this game. Only simply for the fact that I truly believe this is we got to prove it to the league kind of game. Just like the Lions had it last week, right? I think the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence and what they're building down there, I think this is the game that puts them on the map. This is letting everybody know they're legit contenders. And I say that because Calvin Ridley has given them a bona fide, legit, high-flying offense. Last year, yeah, there were, some games that were up, some games that were down, but you can just see the difference that Calvin Ridley makes for Trevor Lawrence. And on top of that, Calvin Ridley, he looked explosive as hell. Like the way he was coming out of his breaks, I was kind of surprised about that. Short of Tyreek Hill going crazy for 200 yards, the second best performance, in my opinion, from wide receiver was from Calvin Ridley. So, give me the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's going to be, like you said, 105 degrees down there. Like that Florida heat is legit. And if you don't practice and live in it, it's going to take an effect on you. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jacksonville Jaguars pounce on the Chiefs early. And if the Chiefs were to win, they would probably win with a late, like fourth quarter comeback when, everything has kind of like settled down a little bit. But give me the Jacksonville Jaguars, Puma, the heat, Trevor Lawrence, them making a statement, all of it. On top of that, I truly do believe, just like you said, Kelce is probably not going to play. I
don't think so.
He's not going to play. And if that's the case, then Patrick Mahomes isn't Tom Brady in 06. So like Patrick Mahomes doesn't spread the ball around to 19 different receivers. He focuses on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce when he was there, right? So give me the Jacksonville Jaguars, bro.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? The Chiefs starting 0-2? Oh my God, dude.
Oh,
that would be for me like
best. I think Jay Cheeman would need a cigarette.
It'd be Christmas come early for me,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
God, the only thing that would top it would be like Bill Belichick getting fired or something. But
don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started. That's like Christmas come early for me.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, your Miami Dolphins are traveling up to Foxborough to take on my New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. The Patriots are coming off of a valiant effort against the Eagles, but they lost. 20-25 was the final score. And then your Dolphins went out to Los Angeles and just shredded the Chargers defense. Like they just absolutely had their way with them. Like 460 yards from Tua, 3 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Who do you got win this game, bro?
Call it a homer, but I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. I'm playing
homer.
So I mean, the whatever book you're looking at, the spread is Dolphins -2, Dolphins -2.5. Over under is 46.5. I'm going with the Dolphins here. I mean, if you also look at history too, if I recall correctly, Tua has not lost a game to Bill Belichick yet, so he's been rather good in his young career in the NFL, despite all the obstacles he has faced during that time. But there are concepts that Mike McDaniel's doing with Tyreek Hill that is just absolutely insane. I mean, Jay, you showed me the video. It's essentially like they have Tyreek Hill going in motion, getting a head start, and then he's just going like the Arena Football League.
That second video I sent you, the first video I get, it was a wheel route, so you basically have him have a running start. But that wheel route was initiated after the snap. The second video, if you watch it again, I don't understand how they get away with Tyreek moving before the snap.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody has to explain that to me. I don't know how that's possible.
Well, we're gonna find out this week on prime time.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they're gonna get a flag, and that nonsense will stop. But I mean, let's say Bill Belichick is gonna take away a weapon for you, right? So like he's gonna take away Tyreek Hill, but I mean that still leaves Jalen Waddle out there, and then Raheem Mostert still runs like the wind right now, and Devon Achane, if he's activated, he's got some. He can run from what I've seen on like Texas A&M highlight in his combine stuff. So I mean, this is a track team. I know the Pats, like they really kept like the Eagles in check, and I was sweating that Eagles -4 with you because you were on the other side. So that was a fun little time in the Silva house. But I mean, really, like that defense kept the Eagles in check. Like after the first quarter, like the Eagles didn't do anything. It was all Jake Elliott and field goals, and Jalen Hurts looked like he didn't really want to be there after halftime. So, I mean, this defense is going to be a real like benchmark for this offensive line. Like the offensive line did good last week, even without Teron Armstead against the Chargers. He's still on the injury list. They haven't really given out like an official like practice report from what I saw. I mean, I think he's going to be questionable. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play this weekend, but that's just me. But Austin Jackson looked good. And I'm saying Austin Jackson, the human turnstile out of USC, looked good last week. So I think there's a puncher's chance for this offensive line to give Tua enough time. I kind of expect a big Jalen Waddle day if they're going to be taking Tyreek Hill out of the matchup.
So I am going to be a homer here, Puma, and I'm going to take the Patriots to win the football game. Now, with the caveat being, if the Patriots lose this game, I'm not picking them for the rest of the year. That's it. That's it. All right. If they go down 0-2 and they don't beat the Dolphins, I'm out on them. I'm totally out because right now I do have a little bit of hope. I do believe what we saw out of the Patriots against the Eagles was fairly, promising for us Patriots fans. We held the defending NFC champions in check for the most part. We got down 16-0, but we still, didn't crap our pants. We rallied back and, we essentially made it a game. And we would have won at the end if Keyshawn Boutte didn't, step out of bounds. But I do believe that, Bill Belichick, I have very little faith in him as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, I do believe he'll be able to slow down that Miami offense. I find it incomprehensible that he's going to allow Tua to go for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever it is, right? So he's going to go in there, making sure he takes away Tyreek Hill, whatever he's got to do to take Tyreek Hill away, and that's when you say, hey, beat us any other way, and if you can, we'll be more than happy to shake your hand at the end of the game and say, good job, well done. You feel me? So, give me Bill Belichick taking away Tyreek Hill. Give me Bill Belichick, and I was surprised at the Mac Jones and the Bill O'Brien offense. It wasn't great. It wasn't obviously the Miami Dolphins offense, but for the most part, it looked competent. It wasn't what it was last year. So if this is going to be a game that's going to be in that 27-24 range, I think I'm going to roll with the Patriots, bro. Like call me crazy, but Pat's winning this, man.
I don't think it's crazy either, especially if you look at the box score from last week with the Dolphins, at least on defense. I mean, they gave up like 230 yards on the ground. And we know Bill Belichick and the Pats love to run the football. So will this be like a big Zeke and big Ramondre Stevenson day? Possibly. But it's definitely going to be close. I think the Dolphins just, speed kills. Like this entire team is fast. So we're going to see, especially with these new concept that Mike McDaniel is rolling out there. Like I want to see how Bill is going to defend this.
Yes, sir. It'll be a fun time starting tonight. All right. Last game that we're going to preview, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens won in week 1 against the Houston Texans. Wasn't really a matchup, truthfully. And then the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland and in a monsoon rainstorm. But, both teams for the most part, lackluster performances. Joe Burrow threw up 84 yards after getting a massive $275 million contract. Wasn't a good look for him. And the other side, the Ravens themselves, they're going to let Lamar Cook and new offensive coordinator and blah, blah. For the most part, it still looked the same old Ravens offense to me without much exception. So who do you got winning this game, bro?
I think it's kind of funny that the spread on this game is more than what the Bengals scored in total points against Cleveland last week. The spread is Cleveland laying 3.5 points. Like, wow. I'm taking Baltimore to win, and that's me saying that, hey, Baltimore just lost J.K. Dobbins with an Achilles injury. Mark Andrews is missed last week with a quad injury. Ronnie Stanley is a knee injury. I mean, it was a Pyrrhic victory against the Houston Texans. And like you said, it was a herky-jerky day on offense for Lamar Jackson. Now, part of that is that from the lack of preseason reps, maybe, but also like the Houston Texans look pretty good on defense, and they moved around that offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens. And, you know, DeMeco Ryans is a good defensive coach, and he's now the head coach of the Houston Texans. So is Lou Amarillo going to take some concepts from what Houston did and apply that this week? I mean, I would hope so, because if for some reason, like, they let Zay Flowers get loose and we saw him be the dynamic playmaker that he was essentially out of Boston College, like, it's going to be a long day at the office for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, is Joe Burrow in, you know, this offense going to rebound? Of course. Like, he's not going to play every game with 85 yards and Tyler Boyd getting, like, what was it, like 11 targets and like 0 receptions and 0 yards. I mean, there's just a bad day at the office, but I can't really back a team that only scored 3 points and they're laying 3.5, considering the slow starts that Joe Burrow has historically had last year. And now you're looking at it this year too. And oh, by the way, Jay, didn't he just have a calf injury too this training camp? So absolutely not. I'm going with the Ravens here. I think this might be a big Zay Flowers day, in my opinion.
I'm going the other way, bro. I'm taking the Bengals just because.
Yeah, we're like showdown every game today.
I have little to no respect for Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, man. Like, you quit on your team last year. I can't overlook that. Like, I think very little of you as a competitor. And truthfully, to be real with you, I think Joe Burrow still hurt. I think what we saw out of him against the Cleveland Browns wasn't a fact of him, you know, being bad. It was him more not being ready, not having those practice reps in training camp, not really feeling confident in his calf. I think another week goes by, he gets healthier. I think he'll be able to go out there and sling it. The weather will be better. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals here. Now, the one thing I want to ask you, Puma, is did you by any chance see anything special or different from that Baltimore Ravens offense? Because, you know, all offseason we heard about, you've got to let Lamar cook. You've got to go hire a new offensive coordinator. You got to throw the ball more. Get him wide receivers. And now he has all of that. He has his OC. He has Zay Flowers. He has Odell Beckham Jr. They are more, in my opinion, they throw a little bit more than they run, but still. Did you see anything different or anything, you know, extravagant out of that Ravens offense? Or the same old, same old?
It looked more same old, but part of me thinks it was just a combination of Houston getting after their ass on the offensive line and then just, you know, lack of training camp reps with the starters. I mean, I think if we're going to see more of this by like week 3, week 4, I'm going to be like, what was the point of all this offseason like nonsense and turmoil about Lamar needs to throw the ball more, Lamar needs to do this? Well, now you have like an offensive coordinator that wants to pass the football. So if we're at the quarter post of the season and it's still looking like week 1 against the Houston Texans, then yeah, I'm going to have a lot of questions. But to answer your question, in the short term, like just based off of the 1 week, it looked more or less the same.
Cool. All right. And then the final segment of the day, the segment that is sweeping the nation, hashtag PUMABETS. By the way, Puma, you unfortunately made me lose a small fortune on Sunday.
If it makes you feel better, I lost a small fortune. So like, I'm actually betting these plays that I'm putting out there on Twitter. These aren't just like, oh man, like keyboard fake, you know, Monopoly money here. No, well, I wagered $150 and luckily kind of, you know, cut the losses in half with like the Cowboys, you know, essentially covering and rolling against the Giants. So yeah, it was a bad day at the office, not just in the NFL, but in college football. And if you ever hear a coach say that they don't pay attention to the spread, just go back and watch that Tulane Ole Miss game. And this is coming from someone that had Tulane plus 7.5, and Lane Kiffin from like 55 yards out in college football kicks the field goal to cover the spread. Yeah, Lane Kiffin knows what the point spread is. But that was last week, Jay. We're going to move on. We're going to put some positive vibes out there. And these are some plays that I'm on right now as of recording on September 12th at 8:47 p.m. I'm going to give you a little bit of what I have for the NFL and a little bit of what I got for college football. So let's roll. So Thursday night football, Minnesota Vikings traveling to Lincoln Financial Field in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings, getting 7 points on the road. And before y'all say, oh, well, we all know Kirk Cousins' history in primetime. Well, since he's been on the Vikings, he's 8-8 in primetime. So whatever. He's 500. But here's the thing. The Vikings, they want to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. He looked pissed last week losing to Tampa Bay. And on the other side of the football, the Eagles might be down, not just like their starting corners, but like some decent people on their defense are either questionable and or going to be ruled out on Thursday. So I think Kirk is going to be able to air the ball out and get Justin Jefferson, in the happy zone and be whatever, all copacetic down there in Minnesota. Do I think the Eagles will win this game? Probably. But I'm going to take the 7 points. I think Minnesota covers. If for some reason the point spread gets back to 7.5, I would definitely jump on it for the hook in case there's a backdoor cover. But right now with the 7, we're getting at least a push if it ends on 7. Next, we hit on it earlier. I'm taking the under 40 in the Jets-Cowboys game for everything that we laid out. But in short, both these defenses are elite. We don't really know what we're getting in the Dallas Cowboy offense. This total cratered from 45.5 to 40, but I still think this could be like a 17-7 game, 27-7. Like, it's going to be under 40. So give me the under 40 at minus 115 on DraftKings. And then, Jay, this one was puzzling for me. It's the New York Giants and the Arizona Cardinals. The New York Giants that just got pantsed on national television are traveling across the country, playing in the 1 p.m. window against an Arizona Cardinals team that almost won the game against the Washington Commanders and, quite frankly, was headhunting their quarterback on almost every single play on the defensive side of the football. I mean, the offensive line for the Giants is atrocious. Andrew Thomas has a hamstring injury, and Neal on the other side of the line was a human turnstile last week. Gannon, the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, he's a defensive-minded coach. I think he's going to find ways to exploit that weakness on the defensive line. Do I think the Giants win? Sure. Do I think they're going to win by 6 points? Absolutely not. Nope. No way.
Cardinals.
Gannon is going to take Waller out of this game. It's going to make Daniel Jones beat him with somebody else. If it's not going to be Waller, it's just going to take out Saquon and say, all right, DJ, throw the ball, because we saw you couldn't throw it last week against the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm taking Cardinals plus the 6. And then last one for the NFL is Cleveland. It's Monday Night Football. It's Cleveland going on the road to the field formerly known as Heinz Field. I don't know what the name is now, but they're a 2-point favorite against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm taking Cleveland, and I'm laying the 2 points. I mean, Kenny Pickett looked brutal in that offense last week, and I understand it was the San Francisco 49ers, but, I mean, Myles Garrett is still on the other side of the field for the Cleveland Browns, and he looked pretty friggin' good against the Cincinnati Bengals. So this offensive line was a big problem against the 49ers. Kenny Pickett looked lost, and he might have had a head injury at one point that people are floating out there with the video. But on the other side of the football, Cam Hayward is going to be out with a knee injury. And then Deontay Johnson for the Steelers is going to be out with a hamstring injury. So, I mean, Deshaun Watson, he was kind of throwing the ball in a monsoon. So, like, it was a functional enough offense, and Nick Chubb was still running all over the place. I have the Browns winning this game, rather. I'm going to lay the 2 points. And then for college football, we're going to go to the backyard brawl, Jay. We're going to go Pitt, West Virginia. I don't like either side, but I'm going to take the over in this game, over 50.5 when I got it yesterday on DraftKings. Both teams have gone over their totals in the first 2 weeks of college football play this year. And in last year's backyard brawl, they went over this total. I think they smashed it. I think it was at 50. The game ended at like 69 or whatever. So I'm going to take the over in this game. I think we're going to see a lot of points. And then the last one for college football right now is a little SEC West matchup. We're going to go LSU traveling to Starkville, Mississippi, taking on Mississippi State. Little SEC matchup here. I'm going to take Mississippi State and the 10 points. The Mississippi State, ever since Mike Leach passed, they kind of gotten away from the air raid offense. They went a little bit more pro style. They love to run the football here, and LSU is just brutal against the run. So do I think LSU can win on the road? Yeah. Do I think they're going to win by 10? Nope, absolutely not. I'm taking the 10 points.
Yeah, dude. A little bit of a weird, week in college football. There's not many like great games. Like I was looking over the slate. I'm like, oh, it's all right. Now the week afterwards, like you've got Ohio State, Notre Dame. You got Alabama, Ole Miss. You've got like Oregon, Colorado. There's so many loaded games in week 4. But this week, not a big fan. The only thing that I think the only thing I don't agree on is the fact that oh crap, I just lost my train of thought. Never mind. Completely lost my train of thought. We're good, man.
Oh, okay. Sick.
It's one of those days, brother. One of those days,
It's fine. It happens to me all the time.
Well, I just need for you to rebound with the PUMABETS because last week I took your advice and I lost some money. So this week I'm gonna take your advice and hopefully I don't lose any money. Okay?
It's fine. Like I said, I'm betting this money too. So you lose, I lose. I win, we win. But we're going to win. We're going to cash these tickets. Let's go. It's going to be a good weekend. Good day.
Sick. Oh, this is what I want to talk about. What the hell are Steelers doing? Like, what the hell are the Steelers doing? I was shocked. I was befuddled. I was dumbstruck watching that game with you on Sunday, watching the 49ers absolutely run roughshod over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, it's only week 1. I get it. Let's see what happens in week 2. But the indication that the Browns are favored by 2 points going into Pittsburgh tells you what Vegas and the wise guys and all the analytical folk in the football world think of that Pittsburgh Steelers game, like a Pittsburgh team. I thought in the offseason with Kenny Pickett looking phenomenal, perfect passer rating in the preseason, like I thought these guys were ready to take the next step. I thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the next great young quarterback in the AFC. Nope. Was I wrong on that? Nope. Was I wrong on that? And they have all the talent to be great. That's the messed up part about this is they have all the talent to be great. But unfortunately, I don't know what's happening. I really have no idea.
How long in the game you have to go to hit fast forward before they didn't have a 3 and out?
How long?
The 2-minute drill going into halftime. You want to know why? Because Matt Canada can't call the friggin' plays into Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett's just freelancing the whole time trying to get the ball down the field. Canada is a problem, and he's been a problem in Pittsburgh for the last 3 years. But Mike Tomlin isn't going to do anything about it. And somehow he's still going to have a winning record this year. But all this hype around Kenny Pickett and Pickens and Deontay Johnson, and for some reason people are still hyping up Najee Harris as like a lead running back in the NFL, who, by the way, he's doing the best impersonation of Trent Richardson that I've ever seen recently.
Yep.
And yet here we are, Jay. They looked incompetent on the football field. The only thing that showed up was the defensive side of the football with TJ Watt, rather. I think he got like 3 sacks and forced over like 2 fumbles. One of them was recovered by Brock Purdy's ass. They were the only people that showed up. The offensive side of the football was atrocious. And it starts at Matt Canada. He's like the Joe Lombardi of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. And I don't know what it's going to take. But Kenny Pickett, they weren't even rolling him out. He didn't even have enough time to run for his life. It was absolutely brutal. What we saw in preseason was fool's gold.
Frauds. Call them frauds.
Frauds.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, brother. Well, that's all I got for this week. You want to plug it up and call it a day?
Yeah. I also feel better, by the way. I had to get that out.
There we go. Let it out. Let it all out.
It's, better on tilt that took Steelers plus 2.5. Anywho, this episode of the pod and previous episodes of the Pro Football Radio podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts at. YouTube, be sure to hit that little subscribe button, that like button as well, too. You'll be notified when the latest video is dropped in the feed. Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review. Google Podcasts, be sure to leave a 5-star review as well, too. Social media-wise, Facebook, Instagram, Pro Football Radio Podcast, the Twitter machine at PFR Podcast. I'm on Twitter at Brando_Puma. Jay Chima is at Jay Chima. Like, subscribe, download, hit us up on social media. Also, I'm still going to be putting up plays out if anything else pops off for college football or baseball or the NFL this weekend. Just either type in hashtag PUMABETS in the search feature on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now. And it'll bring up everything that I put up there so far.
See you guys next week.
Via con Dios.